Thank you, Sheriff. I appreciate your comments, Lawyer Gowdy, as I call him, his comments. I know that the outlaws in Washington State are glad you're in Congress and you're not back in Washington, arresting them and putting them in the jailhouse where a lot of them belong. But thank you for the opportunity to speak at this very important special order. As you know, while you were sheriffing in Washington, I was down at the courthouse in Texas, first as a prosecutor like Lawyer Gowdy, and then for 22 years I tried criminal cases, felonies, everything from stealing to killing. I met a lot of police, call them, during that time. Some of them, as Mr. Gowdy has pointed out, gave their lives in the line of duty. I met them in the middle of the night when they would come bringing a warrant to me to sign so they could go arrest somebody while the rest of us all slept. They're doing what they do best, and that's protecting and serving our communities. A lot of police officers, and I don't think it's been said yet, their job is being a police officer. But most of them have other jobs just to make ends meet. They have an extra job, as we call it, because they don't make a lot being a police officer. None of them ever do it for the money. None of them. Anywhere in the world do they do it for the money. So to support their families, they have to have other jobs to do that. I think we as a nation need to understand and appreciate that they do what they do because they feel, and it is, an important service to our community. Last year, 135 police officers throughout the nation were killed. 64 of them were shot and killed, and 21 of those were ambushed. Among the states, my home state of Texas had the most police officers killed. 21 were killed last year in the line of duty. We also had 5 canines that were killed that work with police. And I have here a photograph or poster of the 21 officers killed in the line of duty in the state of Texas last year. All races, sexes, all ages throughout the state of Texas. And last year we saw probably more than I can remember this phenomena of hate and ambush of police officers. On July 7th, 2016, five Dallas police officers were shot and killed as they were protecting a protest demonstration in downtown Dallas. What occurred was a sniper who had been preparing, obviously, for some time, was watching this procession go by, and he opened fire on those police officers. Other than 9/11, this was the deadliest day for police officers in the United States. Shortly before 9 p.m., a domestic terrorist, and I'm not going to give his name is not important. The names of the officers is what is important. He parked his black SUV on Lamar Street. He put on his body armor. He got his automatic weapon ready to fire, and he started stalking Dallas police officers. As those Dallas police officers and a DART officer, DART is Dallas Area Rapid Transit officer, marched along Main Street with the protesters, he opened fire on them with the intent to kill as many as he could. So gunfire rang out and bullets struck and killed Senior Corporal Lauren Aarons, Officer Michael Cole, Officer Patrick Zamaripa, and 3 Dallas police officers were wounded along with a civilian. But the sniper wasn't through yet. He headed back up Lamar Street, and that's in downtown Dallas, shooting out the windows of a nearby college campus, El Centro College campus, During that time, he injured 2 El Centro College police officers trying to get into the school. He had continued on his quest to kill officers, and he snuck up behind a Dart officer, his name, Brent Thompson, shot him in the back and killed him. He then turned onto Elm Street nearby and shot his way back into El Centro College. All of this took about 20 minutes. Police officers are following this sniper, trying to capture him. But this individual went up to the library in the school, started firing down. His next victim was Officer Michael Smith, and he injured yet another Dart officer. He was cornered in the library. Chief of Police Brown said that during that 2-hour-long negotiation, the individual lied to us, played games, laughed at us, sang, and continually asked how many of those coppers did he kill. Eventually, the Dallas SWAT team took care of the sniper, and he was killed. In total, 5 officers killed, 7 others were wounded. And these officers were killed for the sole reason that they wore a uniform, that they wore a badge or a star over their heart, symbolizing protecting us from the do-bads. That's why that badge is there over their heart, willing to give their life so that we might have peace and order and safety. And on that day, 5 of them did. In total, like I mentioned, 21 officers were killed in Texas last year, the most in any state. Their names, and I ask unanimous consent to put into the record their full background and the departments that they worked with.
Without objection.
Their names: Officer David Hoffer, Patrolman David Ortiz, Trooper Jeffany Nichols, Agent Jose Barraza, Officer Edney Apanca, Sergeant Stacy Blumgardner, Officer Calvin McCullers, Jr., Sergeant Michael Smith, Officer Michael Kroll, Officer Patricio Zamaripi, Officer Brent Thompson, Senior Corporal Lauren Bradley Aarons, Officer Marco Zarate, Corrections Officer Mary Johnson, Officer Justin Ryan Sherlin, Officer Amir Khalik, Deputy Sheriff Kenneth Maltby, Corporal Robert Ransom, Agent David Gomez, Commander Kenneth Stars, and Detective Benjamin Marconi. Mr. Speaker, these were real folks, real people, and as Sheriff Reichert said earlier, these people had families. And lastly, I'd like to mention one other officer that I did read his name. His name was Sergeant Stacy Blumgardner. He worked at a little bitty police department called Patton Village, Texas, right outside of Houston. And he was killed when his patrol car collided with another vehicle while he was involved in a hot pursuit. He is survived by his wife, his son, and his daughter, Chloe. This is a Chloe taken last week in Austin, Texas, at the Texas Memorial Police Officers event. This is her. It was posted by the police chief of Patton Village, Texas. It expresses the families, the humanity of their fathers and their mothers, and how we as a people need to understand the consequences when people murder our finest.